George Moore Chevrolet is off-site today. We're down in Gainesville on the campus of the University of Florida, taking advantage of the name, image, likeness, and putting some money back in the pockets of some college athletes.
Justin Moore, General Manager of George Moore Chevrolet, in a very interesting location. I am on the 4th floor of an apartment building in Gainesville at the University of Florida with Savannah. Savannah is very accomplished. She is all conference, not just any conference, the best conference, the SEC, all American, and most importantly, all academic honor roll. She's a gymnast, she's all American for all that. So accomplished at such a young age. What do you credit it to?
Just like my training and everything, definitely my coaches and my parents. When I was actually 10 years old, my mom and I moved to Maryland for training, and my dad and brother stayed back in Georgia, where I'm originally from, and they kind of helped me pursue my Olympic dream at that point. Unfortunately, some injuries kept me behind, so I ended up moving back to Georgia just to be closer to family and everything, and stayed on the collegiate track. So my family's definitely credit for a lot of that success.
So more traditional sports like football and basketball, the path to professionalism is pretty clear to people because it's so public. You had mentioned moving to Maryland, and then when the Olympic route was not there anymore because of injuries, you moved back to Georgia. What's the recruitment process, career path for a gymnast like?
It's very different than other sports. I think coming to college has really put that into perspective for me, because before coming to UF, I kind of only saw it from a gymnast perspective, but now I can see it from other athletes who kind of go to college to start their professional career, whereas most gymnasts, if they're going to take the Olympic route, they will do that before college, and then if they do decide to come to college afterwards, they'll do that after the Olympics or after World Championships and things like that.
So an Olympic athlete, will say, goes to the Olympics, competes, their career is at that point pretty much, they're retired, and they say, well, now I'll go to school.
Yes.
At the old age of 19.
Exactly, yeah. For example, like we have 2 freshmen coming in that are now, I think, 20 years old, because they've deferred so much.
Will they be able to compete in college still?
They will be able to, yes.
So geographically, I know Columbus, Georgia is very western Georgia.
Yeah.
Right on the Alabama line.
Yes.
So you're from Georgia, which I won't say that school's name, but geographically you're closest to Auburn.
Yeah.
How did you end up at Florida?
So yeah, we only live like 45 minutes away from Auburn, and funny story, I was actually committed to Auburn before Florida. Location was definitely a big factor into that, just to be closer to family. Jenny Rowland, who is now my head coach here at Florida, was the assistant coach at Auburn when I committed there, so she actually recruited me twice. But I decommitted from Auburn when I was an upcoming junior in high school, and I started my recruitment process kind of over and came and sought out Florida, and that's when I committed here. So
was it Coach Rowland that was the primary reason?
Yeah, Jenny leaving Auburn had a big impact on my decision, for sure.
After college, gymnastics has been such a big part of your life since you were 10. How do you plan on, or how will your career in gymnastics impact your life after school?
Heavily, for sure. Coming in as a freshman, my major was psychology, and then halfway through my freshman year, I was like, oh my goodness, this is flying by. I was like, I can't imagine my life without gymnastics. So I actually switched my major. I switched to sport management, and now my plan is either to become an NCAA head coach for gymnastics or to open up my own gym. So I'll definitely stay in the sport. It's impacted my whole life, before and after, so. Now
obviously if you're a coach, you're limited geographically to where openings are, where you can go.
Right.
Ideally, where would you want to be?
Ideally, the SEC would be a really great opportunity, just because of the reputation that the SEC has as being one of the greatest conferences. Might be a little biased there, but but it really is great. And there's also a new gymnastics program in Clemson, so that could also be an opportunity. There's no gymnastics D1 programs in Texas too, so there's opportunities there as well.
So the SEC, obviously, the schools, the athletic programs have more funding. So I would think a gymnastics program at UF or Auburn or Georgia is going to have more funding than one, even in the ACC, because you mentioned Clemson is just now getting a program. How are gymnastics being more of a fringe sport, not as much mainstream? Maybe I'm wrong making that assumption, but football, basketball, baseball, softball even. How do having such strong programs at UF in those other sports impact being a gymnast here?
I honestly think that coming into college, gymnastics is kind of seen early outside of college, gymnastics is seen, like you said, not as mainstream, but actually at UF it's one of the most popular sporting events. We get more attendance than basketball, actually, so it's pretty cool. Kind of a big flex there to say that we get more attendance than men's basketball. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's so much fun, and I think on the college level, competitions are so much more fun to watch, just because in club they get a little long. You can sit there for 4 hours and there's a lot going on, whereas in college it's more focused on one individual competing at once, and it's just more about entertainment, I guess.
Yeah, and every year when it comes to conference tournaments and national tournaments, I feel like every year I see a viral gymnast doing something.
Yep, for sure.
You're listed as an all-around athlete.
Yes.
Which, is it called event?
Events.
Which events do you score best in? Which ones are you most confident with?
So I have competed bars and vault every single meet of my collegiate career. I competed floor pretty consistently my freshman year, and I actually competed beam for the first time my junior year. So I'd say that bars and vault are definitely my most consistent. The beam and floor lineups are pretty difficult to get into. Being at a school like UF, the competition just to get into lineups is super difficult, and you're competing against the best athletes in the nation to get into a 6-person lineup. But bars and vault are definitely my strong suit.
So, hot topic in gymnastics right now, Simone Biles withdrawing from competition. As a gymnast, how do you feel about that?
I honestly think that it takes a lot of courage to do something like that. A lot of gymnasts push through, whether it's physical or mental injury. We're just taught from a very young age to push through no matter what you're feeling. So I think it's really a bold statement of her to go out there and show that it's okay